This is the leadership qualities framework by the National Skills Academy of Social Care. I believe, again, this is another book that CQC would like managers to have, only because it's a tool that guides them throughout their journey as a manager, about their leadership skills. I think the membership, I'm not making any sales for Skills for Care, but as I'm a registered manager, if you register, I think it's a £35 a year. You'll get a pack sent to you, and it encompasses my previous slides where it had tranches. And that tells you that leaders are not just frontline, are not just you, they are your frontline workers. Anybody can be a leader. And it gives you a lot of tools to develop possibly your training material, probably to develop your supervision section, and any area of difficulty you're having in the home. Browse back in this book, this is the smallest version, and look at, you know, what does a carer need in terms of leadership skills? Does she need interpersonal skills? Does she need to have communication skills? There's different aspects in that book that you won't believe is useful on your day-to-day job. So again, this tool can be used for recruitment, because Regulation 13 or 18, I think it is, talk a lot about staffing and safer recruitment. So if you use evidence-based, this is evidence-based. It's there, it's for you to use. Develop your recruitment around it. Don't reinvent the wheel. They've already done a hard work for us. Just use it and tailor it to your services. Okay? I know you've been looking at my lovely book. I'm not asking you to buy it, but the only reason I love this book is then this is at a different level. If you want to develop yourself and learn more about yourself, there's a lot of model and framework in this book. It's a Swedish book, wrote by a Swedish author, but it enables you to be assertive enough, probably more, by knowing yourself, what are your weaknesses, but what are your strengths, being able to do this. Okay?
What's it called?
The book, the decision book. I can pass it around, have a look into it. There's different model in that. Again, you will probably see, well, Patricia, your book is so lovely, nice and clean. You don't use that. Why are you giving us a lot of nonsense here? I do, because in different books that I use, all those models are everywhere. But the book captures all models in different aspects of what I do. Does that make sense? Good. Let's start with well-led. Does everybody like well-led? You do. One of the things that come across under well-led, which is Regulation 17 and Regulation 20. We're talking about regulations here now. So well-led, you'll probably find out, again, captures a lot of regulation, most of them, I would say. And this document that I've stated earlier on gives you a good mapping of where you need to go. Now, first prompt, the characteristic of that is there a clear vision and credible strategy to deliver high-quality care, support, and promote positive culture that is person-centered, open, inclusive, and empowering, which achieves good outcomes for people, and blah, 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 blah. Now, that sentence, when we go into a care home, when we, is the consultant, we go into a care home, we strip that sentence bit by bit. Basically, we get it like a puzzle, and then we build it up together. When we say we strip it, is we look at care planning. We look at policies and procedures. Do you have a vision statement? Do you have a mission statement? Do your staff know about it? Do you have a purpose? Some care homes we go and there's nothing there. There's a standard statement of purpose, which by law, regulation, you should have. But are your staff aware of that? Because though your statement of purpose could be your mission statement, could be your vision, because it encapsulates all your values in there. Your complaints procedures is in there. So during, again, I will go back to supervision. When you're doing a supervision with your staff, bring out that statement of purpose. I know it has to stay in your lobby, because one of the criteria of the regulation is it needs to be there, that everybody reads it. But your staff need to be aware. How many of your staff don't know about your statement of purpose? But if you use that tool as a supervision tool, or as a training tool, or as a development tool for innovation, you will tick one of that regulation 17 and 20. Because in 20, you have a duty of candor. And under the duty of candor, you need to be transparent. So if you're transparent about your statement of purpose, you've already ticked one of the boxes. What the characteristic that come down is like this. The service has a track record of being an excellent role model. Do you see your service out there? Do people talk about it? I was having a conversation with Philip earlier on. Or do you work in isolation? If you're a service provider that is working in isolation and you're not known out there, are you really well led? Or are you what we will call the billionaire mates? Yeah? Because then you don't have a networking. The service has developed and sustained positive culture. In your slide, the first part of our conversation, there's a bit about organizational culture and how coaching helps to have a culture change in a business. So do you have a positive culture that encourages staff and people to raise issues? We are here looking at your complaints, concern, but also your compliment book or folders or evidence that you have. So link that then to complaints and concern under SAFE, yeah? The service finds innovative, and that's what CQC wants to see. How innovative and creative you are enabling people to be empowered and voice their opinion. Do you capture through surveys? Surveys is good, is great. What do you do with it? Do you bury it in a folder? Yes, I've done, out of 16 residents, we've got 13 back, gone, done. It's there, it's my folder. Have you done an analysis of it? Even the good one that you got, what can I do better? Because that's the good one that will get you outstanding. What can I do better about that? Pauline told me the food was really nice. Every single day it was warm. That's what Pauline is saying. But Pauline could also say, the staff asked me my opinion about what food would I like. And they made me my lovely shepherd pie with loads of gravy. That sentence add outstanding to your survey. Oh dear. Again, on the left-hand side are the prompts for well-led. These are all the prompts, and if you look at the provider's handbook and this, you will have all the prompts, and the prompts are quite clear about, these are the characteristics that CQC will be looking at. A typical, pick something in there and we'll elaborate. Just pick anything. I'm not looking at it, because if you pick, you'll probably say, oh, she's learned her pitch by heart. So pick anything in there.
Honesty and transparency.
So how, as a service, because if you're honest and transparent, you will meet Regulation 20, which is the duty of candor. So let's throw some ideas here. How are you transparent and honest in your service?
By opening up and showing everything that you've got. witness what you've done.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Okay.
if you've got any, if there's, say as a service user has got issues, you need to raise a safeguarding, even though you might feel it might be detrimental to your service, but you've still got to do it because you know,
Exactly.
you need the support for that.
That's the right one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Safeguarding is the best window of opportunity to achieve a good duty of candor rating. Because if you raise it, as opposed to, again, oh, please, oh, no, I don't want to go to social services. We are already requiring improvement. Or the opposite, oh, I'm an outstanding home. Why should I raise it? I should never have a safeguarding like that. I should never have the spray pressure sore. However, bring it forward to them and tell them, I've made a mistake, but by that mistake, we've learned from it. S6, safe, learn and improve. Chloe S6 is the new one, and it tells you about learning and improvement, which a lot of companies where we go out there, they don't have even a system in place to say, we've learned from that mistake, we've improved by providing staff training, by providing one-to-one performance, ad hoc observation, managers doing rounds, managers working the floor, managers coming at night to see why you have themes in your safeguarding, or why you have themes in your hospital admission. Why am I having recurrent UTIs after a weekend? Then you might rule down and find out, hang on a minute, specific staff are working. So that's the theme analysis you're doing. And as a manager, you do that. But you're not evidencing it. So CQC doesn't know. It's in your head because you constantly do it. We use big words. Thematic analysis is a big word. It's a research word, right? But you do it. You're analyzing theme, incidents. Put it on paper. Even you don't have somebody logistically able to do that for you, just write it. Any report, CQC love to see them. In the nursing background, they used to make reflective practice a priority. My background is a social worker as well. And as a social worker, we had to do it. And I've learned from doing reflective practice. Reflective practice doesn't have to be an essay. You just have to say, we've done this, how we've done it, it didn't work, we've done it the other way by reviewing it, and it worked. Simple. 5 steps. So does that answer a little bit your question, Philip?
It does, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else want to have a go? Shall we go to the next slide? So as I said, on the left-hand side are the prompts. On the right-hand side are the regulation. Providers must. You would probably find out all the regulation is must, should, have to. Basically, you're abiding. And if there's some married couple in the room, you will know when you're married, you sign an agreement and you've got a band around your finger that states you're married. However, with CQC, you also have a band, and that's your registration, your name on that certificate. I tend and try to empower care managers, registered managers. Be proud of that registration. Don't be afraid of it. As nurses, they are proud to be registered with the NMC. Social workers are proud to be registered with any HSPC council, whatever, HSCP, that's what they are. However, we are also proud. Registered managers, we need to be proud to be registered with CQC because they regulate the care we provide. They regulate us. And again, stand your grounds. W2, we are looking at regulation 7 and 17B here. And again, we go back to good governance. You will see it's all about good governance. Well-led covers, again, look at how many prompts you have. I went to a service a couple of years ago. I'm not going to disclose what service this is because I do have somebody from the health department here. And the service I went, and I only asked, at that time we still had, 2 years ago we still had, Chloe was evident in the system. I asked the manager, do you know of the key lines of inquiries? No, never heard of it. Oh, so how do you do your quality assurance? Oh, there's that company that comes in and they do all those forms and they fill it and they leave an action plan for me and we do the action plan. And, oh, okay. And do you read the action plan? Oh, no, infection control is done by my clinical lead. This is done by that. Health and safety, I've got the health and safety officer coming out. Risk assessment, the fire risk assessor come out, etc., and so on and so forth. I mean, it was not Fulcrum that was going as a consultant, because Fulcrum wouldn't do that. Fulcrum will sit with you. And I brought the well-led to her. I only extracted one part of this one. Does the registered manager understand their responsibilities and are they supported to deliver what is required? She didn't know that existed. She didn't know that there was risk assessment under regulation, that the registered manager should have the required experience, qualification, and skills, including knowledge of the regulation. She didn't know that. She went, whoa, what do you mean, Patricia? That was not it. She had the provider's book. She had the regulation on the other side. Are you telling me I need to learn this? I need to go on a 3-year course. I said, I'm not asking you to go on a 3-year course. Are you aware? You need to be aware of what you're signing up. Signing up at a wedding, oh, big venue, countryside hotel, big deal. Get divorced. Get divorced. I've been once. The bill, very high. It's similar. You're married, you're registered with CQC, but when they deregister you, your reputation, your morale, the business reputation, if you're a nurse, they'll probably put you on the NMC code because you'll be suspended. Because you'll be suspended because you haven't met a lot of the regulation. And she said to me, you've given me food for thought. I don't know whether I wish to be a manager anymore. 2 weeks down the line, she resigned and became a clinical lead. Because the manager's role wasn't for her. It was the title that she loved. So when you're doing, again, I'll go back to recruitment. When you're recruiting to get a good manager, scrap well-led. Find out everything that a manager needs to have. Put that emotional intelligence, that cognitive dissonance in. The leadership style questionnaire in. Put all of that in to do your rigorous manager's interview. You will find out whether then you are able to do the job. If you don't meet the criteria to be a manager, that doesn't mean you're not a good leader. But it's those two elements. Does the registered manager understand their responsibilities? Do you understand your responsibilities? By getting married, do you understand that you're prone to be a mother, a wife, a housekeeper, a cleaner, and the list goes on. And that is a doctor, a babysitter. It goes on. Similarly, CQC is the same thing. Being registered with CQC, does the registered manager should have the required experience, qualification. It's not because I'm a nurse. That's it. My role stands here. Attend networking. Go to forum. Improve your skills. Learn about leadership skills. Learn about managerial skills. Any skills that a manager needs to have. Go and learn. Ask your provider. I need this because I'm struggling in that domain. Don't be afraid to ask. And if you are a registered manager that never had a one-to-one with your provider, then I believe you need to reconsider your position. The CQC will ask you that question. Have you been supervised? Have you had a one-to-one with your manager? And if you haven't, you ask them. Write some notes down because that's where usually people start writing notes down. The big bugbear of all providers, quality assurance. Yes, Fulcrum can go in and do a full quality assurance for you. But we don't only provide that. Look how big what providers should do on the right-hand side. Providers must, audit should, system and procedures should, identifying where, etc. Providers should, again, it's all the should and the must. Look at the list. Now, trying to visualize, do I do this on a daily basis? Do I do this on a weekly basis? Do I look at that and think, I'm not sure I'm doing it? So what I would suggest you do, if in your domain, wherever you are, and you have a lovely admin who's really good at PowerPoint and very colorful, ask them to strip the Chloe for you in safe. The screw, you remember the screw we were talking about? Initially when we came with the screw acronym, we said that's why CQC came out with it, because they wanted to screw you, excuse my language. But they don't. They want to empower you, because they need us providers in the care sector. So ask your admin to scrub the safe, the caring, the responsive, the effective, and the well-led, and put all the elements of the Chloe underneath. These are visual prompts that you need to see. It needs to be next to you, not the staff rota, not the holiday timetable. That is what you need to refer to. Do I have full information about my service user who lack capacity? Another big bugbear. Do you take consent? Do your consent cover all aspects of care? Or do you have 17 consent forms? Are you complicating your life? CQC doesn't tell you how. Gives you the legislation, the guidance. How you develop it, it's a different matter. But if we have to come back to the mental capacity, when you take those who are in learning disabilities, and I think care home with dementia resident, and when you have somebody who lacks capacity, CQC is walking through your door, talking to, let's say, Pauline, who has dementia. Conversation is very incoherent. The behavior is unbelievable and very distressing. And then the staff come to you and say, oh, she lacks capacity. Ooh, you're done. You're getting down the line of getting good now. Because if the staff say she lacks capacity and CQC prompt with an answer, how do you know? Well, she's got dementia. It's not because someone has dementia that it lacks capacity. There is what we call an assessment of capacity that needs to be done. And when we go into care home and when we look at care plan, we are shocked. Currently, in the team, we have different homes, but currently I am troubleshooting a home where a nurse has challenged me in terms of mental capacity and wagging her finger at me. What do you know? How do you know? And I said, oh, that's fine. I will tell you. I don't have to wag my knowledge through a finger. But I pull the guidance that we bring with us, and I say, it says in there. There's a little book on mental capacity from the Public Guardian. And I said, it's in there. I'm not inventing it. It's there. In your manager's office, there's a thick book like that. It's called the Code of Practice. Look into it. And there's another blue one which says deprivation of liberty. Look into it. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. And that's coming from a nurse. And guess what they've done? The person has bed rail. The person has an alarm mattress. The person has the window closed. They've got coded everywhere. All eligibility to basically raise a safeguarding issue. Because they've been restraining somebody's human rights against their will. They might look as if they lack capacity, but there's no document telling me that. So that is the seriousness of the law. That is your accountability as a registered manager. Again, Fidelma said it this morning. If you don't know, pick up that phone, ask. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask for help with your colleague. I think you guys, as a team, you can ring each other. But if you're not so sure about anything else, give us a call. Give us a call. We'll enlighten you. We will direct you. We will signpost you where you need to go. Because managers' role is very secluded, and we know that. You are buried in paperwork and you're buried in audits. Oh, it's the mid of the month and I need to do my clinical audit. And then you forget that you have a safeguarding report that you need to put through.
Can I ask you a question?
Kushkan.
Basically, in terms of mental capacity, when someone, we are not professional qualified, but we have the mini mental health assessment, which we can do probably once a month. I will do
Mini mental health.
mini
Yeah?
mental assessment. So basically,
Yeah.
basically
MSc.
Yeah, MSc. So basically, what date, what time, etc. So this one particular service user, she can tell you all this. Okay, she can give you all this information.
Yeah.
Probably 88%, 89 something. But when the DOLS assess okay, they say she has a lack of capacity, and DOLS was granted. So how is work done?
So you're going by your mini mental state examination form. The mental capacity assessment is a specific form where you have the first 2 stages and then you have the 4 criteria that you need to meet. Your form, the mental capacity form, should encompass those 2 stages and the 4 elements of it, not the MMSE. The MMSE is not a mental capacity assessment.
To see, so just for internal actually.
It doesn't matter. You need that. If somebody is deemed as lacking capacity, your form, the form that generates the information of lacking capacity, needs to capture those 2 stages of the mental capacity assessment and the 4 elements of it: retain, communicate, understand, and you need to have that. The MMSE doesn't say that. The MMSE is cognition only and mental state only, but it doesn't assess capacity. A lot of providers get it wrong.
Yeah, but other people will say capacity is not always someone has lack of capacity, because it depends what is specific capacity.
It's decision specific.
Specific.
Yeah. Today, I don't want to drink water.
Exactly.
You've got to make, learning disability is very complex. Doesn't want to drink water today. That person might have autism. Water on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning will drive them crazy. Don't give it to them. You got to be very mindful of mental capacity in any decision-specific situation. I go back to the MMSE. It is a document to assess your mental state and your cognitive ability. That's what it does. And cognitive impairment somewhere, somehow. However, the mental capacity is different. You can have fluctuating capacity. This morning, you are able to say, yes, oh, I like a lovely chocolate cup, and I wanted marshmallow on it. In the afternoon at 2 o'clock, I can throw that into your face just because I've had fluctuating capacity. My memory fluctuates. And as a service provider, you know your residents better than anybody else. So you should be able to state then why that assessment was necessary. Was it necessary because you've observed? Because you've been observing? Yes. Put it down. On observation after a weekly period, this is what we saw. So her capacity fluctuates from here and there. You have to capture that. We have a specialized person in DOLS and mental capacity, and he's able to provide a very distinctive training. He's a best interest assessor as well. Obviously, it is Fulcrum, so we have to sell what we do. Going back to the characteristic of well-led free, to achieve outstanding, this is what you need to meet. It's on your slides. You've got those slides anyway. And again, one couple of elements in there. There is a strong emphasis on continually striving to improve. So if you look into, these are the characteristics that you should have as a as a provider who want to achieve outstanding. As I said, one of it is, if you go back to the first one, the service has a track record of being an excellent role model. Now, whether you are in the middle of a field, because the countryside is lovely, what is your engagement with the community? Because even though you're in a countryside, there is a community living around there. Even if the community is sheep, dogs, and whatever, animals, there's still a community. How do you bring that to your resident? Prove it, evidence it. We get animal pet therapy in. If you have pubs around, do your residents go to the pub? No. Do you encourage a little bit of alcohol? Because you go in care homes, oh no. They've got dementia, they are such tablet, they can't have it. Who said so? It's not in the regulation. In none of CQC regulation, it states alcohol is not to be provided. If the person's wishes, preferences, and choices are maintained, who are you to say no? Unless they have medical reason, and it is documented, that's where you will get it.
I'd like to stress something on that, if you don't mind, Patricia.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
This is Shirley, by the way, Shirley Joseph, from the Clinical Commissioning Group of East Berkshire.
It's about basically it's a home for them, so it's their home, and it's that personal touch that is actually provided by the home. If that gentleman or that lady was in their home and they wish to have a glass of sherry or a glass of beer, they would have been able to have that liberty to do that. So what is different at the care home that makes that thing? So basically it's kind of giving that backup to CQC to say, look, if this is their home and this is how they like it, if we can personalize it so much with pictures and furniture, etc., etc., I think this is part of their need as well. And maybe some of them really experience that drink as a real pleasure, and it might be just probably half a glass. And if it doesn't kind of interfere with medication and any of the clinical processes they're going through, I think it's nothing, it can't be actually said no.
Thank you, Shirley. One example, I will give you an example. We had a lady, she's still there. Her family history is every other day she used to go to the pub with her husband. Doesn't have any children. 4:30, husband and wife will walk to the pub, because obviously they would have a few drinks and they can't come back if they drive, so they walk and then they get a taxi home. So her behavior in terms of dementia now is sundowning. Sundowning is the behavior escalates. So we need to put system procedures in place to diffuse her behavior. But in order to have that information, we went to the family because we didn't have that information. Family, the brother gave us a thorough kind of life activity. Can't have a bar. We took her to the pub one afternoon. Risk. In dementia, learning disability, you need to take positive risk. It states there's books out there, there's research out there. Positive risk-taking. Took her to the pub. We thought, if she kicks off, we have to get her back in the car and come back to the home. God, she enjoyed that. The smile on her face was captured. Even the conversation was very incoherent during the process, but she loved it because you draw her back to where she used to be. So then what we do, every afternoon at 4:30, she has her paper, the TV is on, she has a glass of gin, a glass, not plastic, it's a proper one, because she does that. And we've noticed, by doing mapping, we've noticed. You give her plastic, she'll throw it away. So she does that. And it's in a lovely one. She's got her gin, tonic, lemon. And she will sip it until dinner. And after dinner, she have a glass of red wine until her hot drink. And she will have a good night rest full sleep without disturbance. She only gets disturbed because obviously they have to change her incontinent aids because she's double incontinent. But that quality of life you gave her is amazing. But because we've been able to capture different aspects of that life, and you put words to it, we've put words to it. And that word is, you know, for example, Mrs. X really enjoy her gin and tonic, watching the TV, sports is on, something like that. Within the home environment, possibly, because we don't know what she's thinking, possibly thinking she's in a pub, which relates to her past. That itself, one paragraph, one few lines, big picture, few lines at the bottom, evidence book, CQC, and person-centered care, please, Regulation 9. Tell CQC you know your regulation, Regulation 9, person-centered care. They loved it. Tick boxes of outstanding. Nothing more than that. One thing, another history about innovation here. We have a, I would say, young gentleman, young because he's just past the range of 65. He's 4 years into dementia, but quite advanced. He walks a lot. Daughter is quite young, very young, and daughter goes to a school. What we've done, asked the wife to come pick him up because the daughter has behavior because she can't attach to dad. So come to the home, pick him with a carer, take him to school, greet the daughter, the wife bring cakes and give the husband give the cake to the daughter. How amazing is that? What have we created here? A family life. Innovation, improvement. Think outside the box. Think what you would do on a day-to-day basis. You will achieve outstanding. In a learning disability service, very complex needs there, but very person-centered. Find examples. Try to link, and that's why your graphic of Chloe should be next to you. Because you can think, what am I doing here? Oh, handwrite it on that picture. This links to Chloe, blah, blah, blah. Just link it, because you're doing it on a daily basis. The difference is you forget that you are capturing those moments.